Hey everyone, I want to give you guys an update on Trump's big, beautiful bill. It passed the Senate, okay? But with regards to the Hearing Protection Act and the Short Act, they reduced the tax to zero, but they're keeping the registry in place, okay? So the registry is still there. But it's not game over, okay? Because they made some changes to this bill in the Senate, and they modified it. Now it has to go back to the House, and the House has to basically vote on it, okay? And they can make changes in the House, okay? So they can add back the full Short Act and the full Hearing Protection Act, okay? Vote on it, and then send it back to the Senate and force them to vote on it again, okay? So it's worth the trouble, right? And here's the thing. If we can get this done in the House, all right, if we can get them to put back the full, complete Short Act and full, complete Hearing Protection Act, it increases the chance that when it gets back to the Senate, they're going to be lazy over there and they'll just sign onto it rather than make more changes and send it back to the House. Okay, so every time one of these chambers makes a change, it has to go back to the other one for them to sign on to whatever they come up with. Okay, so it's not game over. Okay, it's not game over because of what the Senate voted on. We have to put our calls in. We got to make our calls. I'm going to include the phone number to the Capitol switchboard. Okay, you want to basically, now there's a little bit more work because you're calling more than just like 2 senators. Now you got to call the representatives of your state, starting with your own district, and you should also call the Speaker Mike Johnson. Now you're not going to get through to them. You're going to get a voicemail. Leave messages because there's somebody that actually records this stuff. There's somebody that keeps track of what people are calling for and which side of the issue you're on, and they basically run up the statistics. And it matters. It does make a difference. And if we can put in so many calls that we actually shut down the switchboard, that's a lot of pressure on them. Okay. So I'm going to include the phone number to the Capitol switchboard. You got to put your calls in. All right. I mean, and you can call multiple times a day. This is where it counts, guys. This is where it counts. And you might say, okay, what's the big deal? We no longer have to pay the $200 tax stamp. It's not about the $200 tax stamp. It's the registry. The registry is the problem, because you have to register your car. Your car is registered, right? Well, that's what allows them every year to force you to pay additional registration fees. And if one of those speeding cameras or stoplight cameras catches you, they're able to mail a ticket to your house because your car is registered, okay? So the registration's the problem. That's what allows them to tax you now and continue to tax you. And don't think that, hey, that the tax stamp is necessarily a one-time thing. The same way we were able to get the tax stamp reduced to zero through a reconciliation bill that only required 51 votes. You know what? Eventually, Democrats are going to come to power, and they're going to basically use the same process, this reconciliation, to raise the tax to $5,000, right? Because they're going to say that is the same proportion of a tax as what they passed originally in 1934, when suppressors were like $6 each, and they were taxing people $200 on them. Okay. So when Democrats eventually get back to power, and they will, because they're going to basically promise free stuff that they can't deliver. People are stupid enough that they're going to vote for them. Eventually, Democrats will come back to power. If you're on that registry, right, you're going to get a bill in the mail that says, hey, you owe the government $5,000 for each suppressor or each SBR that you have registered. Okay, so we've got to get this registry destroyed now. Because once the registry is destroyed, you're always first of all, they have no record that you ever owned it, and you're in a position to say, hey, I got rid of it when no registry was in place, and there's no need to keep track of any of that information, and there's nobody keeping track of that information. So destroying the registry is the most important part here, okay? In fact, I would pay $200 to make sure I'm not on that registry, okay? That's the more important part. And the other thing here is that once, first of all, when the SBRs come out of the NFA, right, and there's no registry, all it is a matter of just sliding this thing off and sliding this thing back on, okay? So this will be done in seconds, okay? I mean, you just slide this off, right? You pull this back like this, slide this off. Let's get you out of there. This one's tight. You slide this off and you slide that one on. All right? I'm not going to do it on camera because I don't want to be on camera doing this. But the point is, that's how easy it slides on and off. And this is really, because you might say, hey, why do I care, man? When the camera goes off, I can do whatever I want here, right? But the thing is, this is not just about me. This is about everybody else, okay? I want everybody to have the same freedom that I have, okay? So I want you to be able to go to a public range and have a regular stock on your AR pistol, okay? And also on the suppressor side, okay? Listen, man, if suppressors come off the registry, they're gonna be like $100, $200 for a suppressor. I mean, this shielded muzzle brake over here, right? That cost me like $140, right? It's a muzzle brake with a shield over it. Like, all you would have to do is take a welder and just fill in these holes over here, and you're pretty much like halfway to a suppressor, maybe a little bit more than halfway to a suppressor. And then you could also basically you could unscrew off the shield, and you could make one, or you could have some. You can buy one, right? I'm sure people will start pumping these out. A better shield to go over this that will turn this more into a true suppressor. Okay, so the shielded muzzle brake is the starting point for making your own suppressors for like $150 or less. Okay, so again, don't think of, hey, suppressors are like $1,000. I'm never going to want to pay for that anyway. No, suppressors don't need to be $1,000. Suppressors are like $150, right, or less. In Europe, you can get them for like $30. Now, granted, they're temporary ones, right? They're only good for like maybe 50 shots because they got like basically they're like oil filters. It's the ones that they have in Europe, and they get them really cheap. They're disposable ones, so the disposable ones are going to be really cheap. But that's the other thing. Like, you will be able to, once they come off the registry, you'll be able to buy disposable suppressors, right? Because, or make them yourself, right? You'll be able to buy just an oil filter and make your own disposable suppressors legally, right? Because, there's nothing that's going to stop you legally from making your own suppressors once they come out of the registry. Just like you can build your own guns, right? Like I build this gun over here. It's legal, even it's legal to build your own unserialized guns because it doesn't need to be on a registry. The registry is what prevents you from building your own suppressors. Okay, so again, I'm going to put the phone number for the Capital switchboard. Put those calls in. It's worth the time. This is where it counts, guys. I mean, if you don't do a little bit of work now, it's really hard to complain later on that we didn't get this stuff off the registry. And if we don't get it off the registry now, it's going to come back to bite us. So what they do, what the Democrats are going to do when they get back into power, they're going to go back and they're going to use the same reconciliation process to retroactively tax all the suppressors and all the SBRs on these registries at like $5,000 each. Okay, so drop some comments below, make those phone calls. Again, I'll include the phone number, and I'll talk to you soon.